This is Chef Aug from Ape Shifter, and you're watching Brutally Delicious. I've got my buddy Oscar on the camera today, and we are going to make, to celebrate Passover, the traditional Matzo Brei. Okay, for Matzo Brei, you're going to need matzah. We have this matzah right here, 2 pieces. We're only making a small portion for 2 people. You got an onion, cutting board, salt and pepper, a couple of eggs, a knife for cutting the onion, butter, milk, a bowl for mixing, a fork for mixing, and a plate on which we will serve this fine delight. For your Matzo Brei, you're also going to need a pan and a spatula. Alright, first we're going to slice up this onion. I like to get the both ends off. Get the skin off, the first layer of skin off of here. Move a little bit further back, Oscar, so you can get the whole body shot in there. Per instructions of Brutally Delicious, they want to see the person that's doing the work. Alright, there we go. Alright, now I'm just going to cut up this onion. First, I make it in big slices like this, counter to the grain of the onion. Because I ultimately want to make these small. I don't want to make them long and stringy. I want to make them small. Sort of diced. Let's say diced. Some people like the long stringy onions. It's a personal taste, really. When I'm making Matzo Brei, it's for my children and me, and my kids don't like the onions, or at least they like the onions, but they don't like to see the onions because they say they look like worms. And so we have to make the onions as non-worm-like as possible. Got the olive oil here going in the pan, and we've got the diced onions. I'm going to put the diced onions into the pan with the olive oil. Now, for a little bit of a sweeter taste and a little bit of more non-stick action, I'm going to put a dab of butter in there. In the shot. My wife always says not so much butter, but she doesn't complain when it tastes good. So we got this going on. So while the butter and the onions are sautéing in there, we want to get the onions a little bit brown. I'm going to get started on the eggs over here. Crack one, and I crack a second. Oscar's an amazing cameraman. He does most of my work. He's been with me for, how old are you? 9 years. 9 years. Since he was born, as a matter of fact. Okay. Now keep your eye on that while I wash my hands real quick because I've got eggs on them. Alright, look at me with the eggs. We've got, come over here. Get a little bit inside the... I'm going to whisk this up. Got to make that nice and whisky so it's going to be fluffy eggs. Fluffy eggs with the milk in there. I'm going to put some salt. Normally I go light on salt on everything, but on Matzo Brei I go a little bit heavy on the salt. But you want to make sure you don't too much salt, because too much salt is too much salt. But I do go heavy on the salt because I really like that salty taste in the Matzo Brei. Now we're going to go to the most important part of this Matzo Brei. We have matzah here, standard matzah. This is the best you can get in Germany without going to a kosher shop. So it's not kosher for Passover matzah, but it's good enough for this recipe. We have a bowl. So I'm going to break up the matzah into 4 pieces like this so it fits in the bowl. Because ultimately what we're going to do, come on over here, Oscar. We are going to make the matzah wet. Put it in some water. Soften it up. So while that's softening, I'm going to put this over here. You can see the the matzah. It's almost floating in there. I'm going to leave that here for a couple of minutes. All right, let's go back to the onions. We're going to keep them moving. You got to get me in the shot, man. We're going to keep them moving. Yeah. Come on over here. Take a look at the onions. They're starting to get a little brown in there. Still a little yellow, but we're going to get that moving. So right now, as the onions are sauteing, we have the eggs already mixed with the milk, salt, and pepper. We have the matzah soaking in water. Now there's a couple of, come back to me, there's a couple of different things you can do with this. Some people put the egg into the pan and then put the matzah in there with it. Some people like to soak the matzah in the egg. I like to soak the matzah in the water, and then after it's softened up, then break it up and put it into the egg. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this matzah that's been soaking in water, and I'm going to dump the water out into the sink. And now the matzah's soft. I'm going to break it up and put it into the egg. Just, you know, I guess pieces about the size of a dime or a quarter. Just break it on up in there. Put it in there. I'll put it so you can see. Putting all the matzah in there. Now I'm going to mix it up with the egg. So I got matzah in there with the egg. That's looking mighty fine. Now you can use egg matzah, but that doesn't mean you can't use egg. You're going to need the egg because ultimately this is like a scrambled egg with matzah. Okay, let's go check our onions. These onions are looking pretty good. Crispy almost in some parts. Now before I put in our egg matzah mix, I'm going to put another bit of butter in there because I like it. I like it with a little bit of butter. I like the taste. It also helps the non-stick pan there. All right, so I've got my egg matzah mixture. I've got the onions moving in there. The onions look just about done. I'm going to put another dab of olive oil in there for good measure. We're only about 3 hours away from Italy, so part of the local course of conduct. All right, here we go with our egg matzah mixture in. Get all that in there. Get a little bit higher with the shot. Yeah, there you go. Keep that shot high while I spread out the egg matzah mixture among the onions. Yeah, there we go. That's looking good. Oh yeah. So that's pretty well mixed. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit on that heat. I've been going with a full heat. Let me have this, please. I've been going for a full heat the whole time. Now, get a shot of me. Now, you may want to go with a lower heat because you may need a little bit of time getting things prepared. I've been making Matzo Brei since my father showed me how to make it when I was 12 years old. So I'm pretty well experienced on getting everything prepared at the same time and getting it together. But if you're making Matzo Brei for the first time, give yourself some time. Keep the heat low so your onions aren't burning and you haven't broken the eggs yet. You dig what I'm saying? All right, so I'm going to let this sit a little bit. Matzo Brei is a very common traditional breakfast during the week of Passover. You don't have to be Jewish to eat it, and it tastes pretty good. Ask any goy.
Tastes pretty good.
That's my wife.
Goy.
All right, so we're still going with this. I'm going to put a little bit more salt. Stay right there with the shot. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in there. You want to get close into putting the salt in there? Just a little bit more. Just a little bit, touch more. Don't want to overdo it with the salt, but I don't want to underdo it either. Sometimes the salt tastes really good when it cooks with the Matzo Brei. Of course, you can be a little conservative on it and then put extra salt on after you've finished the Matzo Brei. All right, now come on over here. Take a look at this. Now the Matzo Brei is all cooked on the bottom part, but it's not cooked on the top part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up a little bit. 4 pieces here. I'm going to flip these 4 pieces so that we get cooked on both sides, cooked evenly on both sides. Look at that, crispy brown. Crispy brown right there. I can almost feel the mouth watering out in YouTube land. All right, let's make sure everything's cooked in there, flattening it up a little bit. All right. So, all right. This is pretty hot. This is pretty done. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the heat, save energy. And I'm going to let the hot pan do the rest of the cooking. Alright, so our Matzo Brei is done. Just going to put it on the plate. Looking good. I like it with a cup of coffee. The kids like it with a glass of milk. Let's just try it out here. Delicious. You can have it pure. Kids like it pure sometimes. Or actually, sometimes they like it with a little bit of ketchup. If you want to go crazy, put a little horseradish on it. But that's been Ape Shifter on Brutally Delicious and making you Matzo Brei. Bon appetit. So, the first record I ever bought with my own money. Well, that's a toss-up. It's like twins. Which one came first? Because the first records I ever bought, actually the very, very first record I ever bought was the Monkees. Let me see if I can find that one here. The Monkees, Refocus. I got this at a yard sale. I think I must have been 7 years old or something like this. Great stuff. The theme song, Last Train to Clarksville, Daydream Believer, listen to the band, Steppin' Stone. It's awesome. But I bought this used, and so if you want to talk about the first record I bought new ever, which was the next record I ever bought in my life, I bought these two at the same time. Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman. The Kinks, Give the People What They Want. I could listen to these two albums back to back, probably 7 days a week for about 2 weeks. And then if I was only allowed to take 3 albums onto a desert island with unlimited electricity, I guess one of them would be Grateful Dead, Europe 72, triple album. Thin Lizzy, Live and Dangerous, amazing live album, one of the most incredible live albums I've ever heard. I believe they re-recorded a bunch of stuff in the studio. And Live at Montreux, Daryl Anger, Barbara Higbee Quartet, an incredible Windham Hill release. Some backups just in case I had time or place in the backpack. Cheap Trick, Live at Budokan, and Journey Infinity. Ooh, anytime that you want me. That's what I say. It's Jeff Aug from Ape Shifter on Brutally Delicious. What's going on with Ape Shifter right now? Well, we just released our second album, Ape Shifter 2. Comes in double vinyl version. Ape Shifter 1, Ape Shifter 2, Ape Shifter 1 right here, you open it up, boom, all the Ape Shifter 1 information. You flip it over, Ape Shifter 2. All the Ape Shifter 2 information. This is a beautiful, wonderful gift for Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Grandma's birthday. Pick up a copy online or write us directly. We had a tour scheduled, a European tour scheduled for March 2020. That got canceled due to the virus situation. So we're in the process of moving it to May 2021. We had been writing material for the new Ape Shifter album for the last 8 months. We plan on going to the studio in the summer of 2020 with the money that we earned from the March tour, but since that tour is not happening, everything's a bit up in the air. We don't know what's going to go on, so in the meantime, we're just going to shoot videos for Brutally Delicious. Maybe we do a matzo pizza during the week of Passover while it's still happening. Anyway, it's been a joy. Talk to you soon.